welcome all participants in 1 week online faculty development program on research methodology organized by PVPIT Gurgaon. Now I would like to introduce today's expert, Dr. Kailasnath Sutar sir. He has completed his BE in Mechanical Engineering from RIT College Islampur, MTech from Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Technological University, Pune, Lonere. Then after that, he has completed his PhD in Mechanical Engineering from Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi. Currently, he is working as a professor and head of Mechanical Engineering Department at Bharati Vidyapeeth College of Engineering, Pune. Sir has 25 years teaching experience as well as research experience. I like to highlight his achievements. He has qualified GATE exam 3 times in 1999, in 2001, and then in 2006. He got National Merit Scholarship from 1993 to 1998. He got MHRD Scholarship as Research Scholar at IIT Delhi from 2010 to 2014. He has achieved Academic Excellence Award at Bharati Vidyapeeth University Pune in 2016. Also, he has achieved Best Researcher Award of Bharati Vidyapeeth Deemed University Pune in 2017. He has selected for Technical Leadership Development Program under AICT UK Indian Education Research Initiative in academic year 2018-19. He has awarded with Level 5 certificate in Management and Leadership by Chartered Management Institute UK in 2019. He has published 16 papers in reputed international journals, and also he has published 11 papers in international conferences and 5 papers in national conferences. His one patent is granted in 2023. Patent name is an airfoil for blade of wind turbine. He has completed one research project under TCube for the project name is experimental investigation on thermal and emission performance of 4 biomass food stoves. Uh, sir is handling 5 research projects, and I would like to highlight his research matrices also. So Google Scholar citations 257 and Scopus citations 135 and Web of Science citations 103. He has organized a number of workshops and number of seminars and faculty development programs also. So we are very lucky who got his time from his busy schedule. So today he will guide us on the how to write the research article. So I request Dr. Kailash Sutar sir to start your session, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, madam, for your wonderful introduction. I'm thankful to the management of PVPIT, Head Department of Mechanical Engineering, for giving me opportunity to share my views on the topic and art of writing a research article. At the outset, I wish to pay my tribute to the two visionary leaders of Maharashtra, Honorable Vasantdada Patil and Honorable Dr. Patangrao Kadam Sahib. I also want to salute my PhD guides, Professor M.R. Ravi and Professor Sangeeta Kohli, due to whom actually I am able today to say few words regarding writing a research article. This is the brief outline of my today's presentation, starting from the definition of research article, then types of research articles, how to identify suitable journal, then journal metrics, then the individual personal metrics, publishing ethics, how to prepare an article, what are the components of article, what are the points shall be added in the article, then process of submission of article and the peer review process. During my presentation, my focus will be the research scholars who have taken admission for PhD, and they have to publish research articles in reputed international journals, Scopus, Web of Science, or Google Scholar, sorry, UGC care listed journals, they have to publish at least two papers. So my focus will be these research scholars, and that is why at many of the times during my presentation, I will be visiting directly to different websites and I will be showing the demos also. This might be a repetition to few of the participants who have already completed PhDs or who have a very high merit in the publications. Okay. So the first point, that is, what is a research article? Research article, a primary source which reports methods and results of an original study. Here, the words original study, they are very important. Means whatever the work we have performed on our own through our, let's say, BTech students, MTech students, or individual PhD students, they are working on their individual work, that we are calling as the original study. So, considering that work or that study, when we are writing uh, the article, then we call it as research article. And this research article reports results of original research, and they are published in peer-reviewed scholarly journal. Peer reviewed, where we are not knowing who is reviewing the these papers. In some of the journals there are two reviewers, so in some of journals the number might be up to five reviewers. So scholarly journals, already as madam mentioned, the three important words, that is Scopus, Web of Science, and UGC Care. So at present, whatever the publications are published by the research scholars, if the journals are indexed by any of these three agencies, then we call them as scholarly journals. So during my presentation also, I'll be visiting these websites also to show the students how to select the journal. Now, the research articles are mainly classified in these four categories: original research article, then rapid communications, review articles, and case studies. So let us see them one by one. The first one, that is original research article. Whatever the work we are performing during our 3 or 4 years of PhD, so we wish to publish that work in some reputed journals. And the kind of article that we prepare, that we can call it as original research article. So in this article, we start from the introduction, then materials and methods, then experimentation, experimental methodology, experimental setup, results and discussion, etc. All these sections will be there in the original research article. So for an example, I'll be showing one of the research papers for information to the students. So this is one of the papers published in Energy Journal in 2023. If you see the structure of the paper, there is abstract, then you have to give the introduction. Each and every component I'll be explaining afterwards in detail. Just uh, for saying the type of research article, this I have kept as an example. Then materials and methods is there. Then about the experimental setup, then what is the methodology we are following, the formulations we are using, and then results and discussion section will be there, right? And after that, there will be conclusions and references. Okay. So this is regarding the original research article. Second part is rapid communications. Now, the main difference between the original research article and rapid communications is that the time period required for review of rapid communications is very short. That might be 3 months or less than 3 months also. But in case of the original research articles, and if you are sending it to some reputed journals, that might vary from 4 months to approximately 1 year, in some cases more than 1 year also. So as the name indicate, rapid communications, when the paper is submitted to journal, most of the times, sometimes what happens, the editors they find that this kind of research is is going to be very interesting and going to be useful for other researchers, and in that case, they do not send it to reviewers, as the editor himself is expert in that field. He himself performs whole of the review of the paper, and he contacts that author, and whatever the comments or uh, the modifications required, he gets it done from the authors, and within a very short period of time these papers are published. This kind of thing had happened for one of my papers. I used to show that paper also to you. You can see the timeline also. So this paper actually, a very basic experimentation we have performed, experimental investigation on pot design and efficiency of LPG utilization for some domestic cooking processes. See, in India, as the government of India has launched the LPG program, due to which more than 99% of the households, means in every household you can say there is LPG is being used. But at the same time, the cost of LPG that increased from 450 rupees in 2014 to now it is around 1050 rupees, right? So in that case, as a researcher, what we can do is, we cannot say people do not use LPG. We can say how you can conserve this LPG, how you can use LPG efficiently. So what we thought is, uh, we performed around 105 experiments through the BTech students. Keep this in mind. All this work, these are all four BTech students, and they had done this work and they had submitted the report. And after they passed out, I had written this paper for them. Right. And when this paper was communicated to journal, and this journal also is reputed journal, people might be aware. So if you see the timelines, 5th January 2020, it was received and it got accepted in 12th April 2020. So editor himself was handling this paper. He had sent some comments on the paper, and once the comments were satisfied by us, so the paper got published. So this can be said as the rapid communication. This is short communication, only 4 5 pages paper is there, but it was important as far as the LPG utilization and its efficient use is concerned. So this is one of the types of papers as the rapid communication. In some journals, this is referred as letter also. Then next important type of article is review articles. Many a times, what happens when the research scholars takes admission, he completes his post examination, comprehensive examination. He is asked by the guides to write a review article, because mainly the first presentation is based on the review of the articles he has done. Based on that review, his topic is finalized, then his objectives are finalized based on the gaps found in literature, and every research scholar, at least he refers at least 100 papers for any review article. So who can write review article? Uh, as far as the instructions from the reputed journals are concerned, review articles are written by the leaders in a particular discipline. When we are working uh, in a field, for example, heat transfer enhancement is there, then biomass gasification is there, biomass bookstores is there. I'm giving examples in my area only, right? So if you are working in that area, let's say for 10 15 years, and you have published some good papers, then in that case, sometimes what happens, the editors actually communicates, contacts the authors, and they ask the authors to write a review article for their journal, right? So this is one thing. Secondly, we can publish review article if we have done some thorough research in some of the area, and at least many times students ask how many papers can be cited. So I say at least 100 papers we need to refer for writing a good review article. So there is one example of review article also with me. So this is one paper which we published in 2015. Actually, my guides, they were working in this area of biomass cook stoves for more than 25 years in the area. They had published one review article, but they had one wish that we must publish one comprehensive review article in a highly reputed journal. That is why we targeted this renewable and sustainable energy reviews, which is one of the topmost journals in elsewhere. So we were working around 1.5 years before communication. In 2012 itself, it was communicated. 2013, we received the first comments on the paper, and that paper got accepted in 2014. So about 2.5 years we had spent on this paper, and if you see the paper, this actually is 38 page, one of the largest communication in that journal, and till date this paper had received more than 150 citations also. So these guides, as they were working in this area for many years, so though I am the first author, whole credit goes to them, because this paper had taken lot of our time, because if you see the references also, more than 330 references are there. So we all four people were working day and night for this paper, and uh, finally it got accepted in that journal. So what shall be there in the review article? It is not only the compiling the different papers. Let's say 100 papers I have compiled, and then I have written summary in my own words and presenting that summary one by one. It doesn't make the paper. When we are writing any review article, we need to uh, categorize the paper. Whatever the papers we have, means we have collected, we need to categorize those paper. For example, again I will be giving the example of heat transfer enhancement. Let's say heat transfer enhancement using the turbulators. So because heat transfer enhancement is so wide field, that if you search only on heat transfer enhancement in the elsewhere journals, you will find more than 50,000 papers on that. So in that case, how your paper or my paper will be getting, what are the chances of getting accepted my paper in reputed journal? These chances are very low. So in that case, we need to find the way what exactly is the area in which the review article is not published. Though you are performing the research, you are doing original research, that research is not done by anybody else, but see the review articles, and you need to, or we need to find the area where there are very less review articles, or at least in that journal there are very few review articles or no review article is published. In that case, then the chances of getting it published increases. Once you finalize the title, then second thing is categorize all papers corresponding to title. How I can categorize the paper? For example, when I say heat transfer enhancement using the turbulators, so what are the different turbulators on which people have worked? Then you might be finding there are some review articles on turbulators in different journals. Then you might be finding there are some experimentation done. Some hundreds of papers are there on experimentation on different types of turbulators. Then few people have done numerical studies. People have done CFD studies. Few people have done economic analysis. So accordingly, we need to categorize the papers in the different review articles, then experimentations, then the CFD studies, numerical mathematical analysis, and economic analysis, etc. And then actually the work starts. Once I categorize the papers one by one, I need to make summary of each of the paper. So one more question is always asked: is it possible for a researcher to read all 100 papers? It is not actually possible to read thoroughly all 100 papers. So what I need to read in first stage? First stage, I will suggest you first read the abstract and the conclusion. If you read abstract and conclusion, you will find this is the paper which is more relevant to my work. So out of, let's say, 150 papers, automatically 100 papers will go away, and only 50 papers you will find these are the papers somewhere related to my work. And then concentrate on those papers, and out of those papers, the papers which you find are very much related to my work, go and thoroughly read that paper. Because whatever the important points are there, either they are covered in the abstract or they are covered in the conclusion. But many a times what happens, what methodology is used, then what are the parameters selected, then what are the range of the parameters selected, these things you may not find in abstract and conclusion. In that case, you need to go into that paper, deeply read that paper, take printouts, and make the highlights. But these papers will be very few papers, I can say. Out of 100 papers, these might be 10 15 papers. Those will be very important for your research work, right? So these kinds of papers need to be collected. Then while framing your objectives or while making the research gap, you need to see what is exactly, what are the operating parameters that author has taken, then what is the range of parameters, what is the minimum level, what is the maximum level he or she has taken, and why, what exactly is the limitation of his setup. So can I remove that limitation in my work? All these things we need to perform. And coming to again the point of the review articles, once you categorize all the papers, then the work starts. Let's say he has done some experimentation, so and so has done some experimental work. So what methodology he has done, you can prepare the table, methodology done, then what are the parameters selected, then what is the range of parameters, and what are the results, important results. Accordingly you can make the table, and then you will find out of 10 15 papers, there are 4 or 5 papers they have done very similar kind of work. So those groupings you can do, and accordingly your subsections, for example, the in your review article, your one of the sections is literature on experimental work using turbulators. So in that case, you can have different subsections. In that experimental work, what kind of setup they have done. If similar kind of setup is done, then that can be your subheading, and you can mention there key. These are the authors who have done this kind of work. Then you have results and discussion, because you will find with increase in Reynolds number, the heat transfer enhancement increases, or increasing Reynolds number, pressure drop also increases. These are all common statements, right? So when such common statements are there, these authors have given some justification behind that. That means with increase in Reynolds number, why heat transfer enhancement increases, there might be increase in turbulence inside that duct, and due to increase in turbulence there might be separation of the boundary layer, and that might be causing some increase in heat transfer. So these reasons are very important as far as your say on that, whatever the result is there. So in review article, we are not only presenting what exactly is written by those authors, but we are presenting why the results are coming. When you combine all the papers, you will find key something, one common thing you are finding, or what are the points missed, those also you will be finding. So all these things in your results and discussion, because for review articles your discussions will play very important role. So that is what I wanted to tell regarding the review articles. And next is case studies. These are mainly used in medicine field to specific, for occurring of specific phenomenon. The people are performing some of the studies and they present in the form of case studies. So these are also published in the medical field. So next question arises, how I can identify suitable journal. So you might be aware, Elsewhere has their journal finder. I will be doing one exercise for you. So this is one journal finder of Elsewhere. Find right journal for my research. So one of my papers has published, and it was first presented in national conference at Walchand College, and then it got published in UGC Care Journal. The same I have brought here for your reference. So this one abstract, what it is asking is, enter your abstracts. So this is on biomass cook stores, right? So I have entered my abstract here, and when I click here on find journal, so I do not want to go for open access journals because the fees are very high for elsewhere journals. So you can see as my work is on biomass cook stores, this is on development of biomass cook stores, their efficiencies and emissions. So the very suitable journal, that is energy for sustainable development, that is one of the journals suitable for me. Then so many journals they will be coming. So now it is uh, I have to take the call which journal I need to select among them, because the site score is there, impact factor is there, and let's say I'm going to website of that journal, Energy for Sustainable Development. This has good impact factor as far as the 4.4 impact factor is there. So these are the timelines, very important timelines for us. See, article publishing charges, we are not going for it. We are not going for open access. 3 days time for the first decision. This is very important. When once you communicate the paper, and if there are some major flaws, for example, plagiarism is more, or that paper is out of scope of the journal, or the work is not up to that mark, your paper will be directly returned to you or your corresponding author. And that time is very important. And that is only 3 days. So this time, because once within 3 days the paper comes back, you will be getting some comments on that. You may work on the comments, and again you can make your paper ready to send in other journal. If this time is very much, if they are taking months for their first decision, then because we know it is very high time that every faculty member, every researcher need to publish at least 2 research papers in the reputed journals. And in that case, time for first decision plays very important role. And that is why while selecting the journal, we need to consider this point very carefully. Then review time, then submission and acceptance. As I mentioned previously also, good journals, they take minimum time from 3 months to 6 months, or in some times more than a year also, right? So we must be ready for all these time frames also, right? So this is one of the journal finders. There is one more journal finder, because this was only for elsewhere journals. So this is one more journal finder. This is general, and I found this is good. Let's say, see whether it opens. A dance, right? The same thing I am going to paste here also, my journal selector. And I, when I am searching, beauty of this website is that irrespective of the publisher, it is giving me very good options. See, energy efficiency is from Springer, energy sustainability and society from Springer, then American Chemical Society, elsewhere. So it is covering all publishers, and it is giving us the information on the impact factors also. And after clicking on this journal name, you are directly directed towards the journal homepage also. For example, this energy efficiency, okay, and this is giving you information regarding uh, the journal metrics also, right? So there are some website, they are helping us in selecting suitable journal. So we need not worry regarding our work. A lot of information is available there, right? Then read the aims and scope of journal. Whatever the work you are doing, whether that fits into scope of journal, that is important. And if it is directly fitting to the scope of journal, then in first stroke it will not be rejected. Many a times what happens, ki our work is original, we have done lot of efforts on it, and we find it gets rejected in first stroke through the editor himself. So one of the problems is when the paper is not in scope of journal, that gets rejected. So we need to see the scope of journal. Then we need to see the guidelines for authors, read them very carefully. Recently only I communicated one paper to one of the Springer journals, and that came back in 2 3 days, and I found I had missed some of the important author guidelines. Then again I have to send it, but during this process I lost my 10 15 days. So to avoid that, prior to sending the paper, we need to see carefully all the author guidelines. Then this is one important comment: check if the journal is invitation only. As I mentioned in review articles, some of the journals, highly reputed journals, they actually uh, consider the review articles only if they are being invited by the editors. Means editors invite the reputed researchers, and only those kind of articles are considered for further review. So that also point needs to be checked, whether the journal is not invitation only. Check if the journal provides both options. This is also important, because if you see the publication charges, they are in lakhs, and it is very difficult when, if we have some funding, okay, then in that case we can go for open access. But many a times when the funding is not there, we need to check for subscription based journals, and check the journal performance for the review and publication timeline. As I told you, for that one of the journals, Energy for Sustainable Development, journal performance means how much time it is taking for the first decision, how much time it takes for the review. And actually, previously they were giving, when I was searching for journal through the journal finder, they were giving the acceptance rates also. Now they are giving the dash. They have removed that portion. Acceptance rates of the journals are very important. Means sometimes the journal acceptance rate is 13%, sometimes it is 26, less than 30%. In many of the cases it is less than 30%. So that acceptance rate also is very important as far as the probability of getting the paper accepted is concerned. Then impact factor of the journal. Impact factor, we always uh, look for publishing our papers in good impact factor journal. I am not saying those paid journals who are actually publishing the papers in less than 1 month, and they are saying the impact factor to be 7 8. Do not go for them. I will be showing you some of the website and how to go search for the journals, good journal. That also I'll be showing through the demo. Here one example I have taken from Wikipedia. You can go and search. This one is there. How they are finding the impact factor. They are taking the ratio of citations for last 2 years. For example, I want to see the impact factor for 2023. So what the journal is doing? Citations of all papers published in 22 and 21. Summation of those citations divided by number of paper published in that journal in 22 and 23. So that ratio is impact factor. Okay, and you can see Nature journal has impact factor more than 40. This is one of the benchmark for journal reputation. There are other benchmarks also: 5-year impact factor, then site score, then SJR, SNIP. All in these are there. Then author level indicators are also very important. Madam, while mentioning my introduction, she gave some numbers: Google Scholar, Web of Science, and Scopus. So there is one more author level indicator along with the number of documents. H index also is very important. Means if you want to search for a good researcher, so I will be giving you two examples: one average researcher and one good researcher. Okay, I have here two links here. I will be showing you. Why I want to show you? Because I want to explain this meaning of H index, and my profile is as an average researcher I am showing you, and one more as good researcher I am showing you the profile of my research guide. Okay, so first let us see the good profile. Professor M.R. Ravi, IIT Delhi. citations are more than 2000. H index 23, I-10 index 32. What is this I-10 index? I-10 means 32 papers have been cited for more than 10 times, 10 or more than 10 times. Okay, he has around 78 papers on this Google Scholar. Okay, so about half the papers have been cited for 10 or more times. Okay, H index is very actually interesting number. H index means if H publications have at least H citations, that means out of these 70 publications, 23 publications have been cited at least for 23 times. This is H index. Means when my H index is, let's say, 7, that means whatever the number of publications, I have 21 publications, it doesn't matter. Out of that, how many publications have been cited for how many number of times is very important. Now let's see my profile. 309 citations, H index, as I told you, 7. Okay, there are 21 papers, but why it has stuck to 7 is very important. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 7 papers are there, and the last paper has citations 10. Now when it will go to 8, when my this paper will be cited by one of the authors, my H index will go on 8. Okay, because 8 papers will be cited by cited at least by 8 authors. So that is H index. So do not only consider the number of papers published by the authors. If you want to see the author level index, H index is very important, so as to means classify, like as an this one as the average researcher and a good researcher, because good researchers have H index more than 15, right? So this also one of the points I wanted to tell you, because whatever the paper I am writing, if it is not referred by the scientific community, then that number has no meaning, because it has to be referred by the people, and the quality of my paper must be in such a way that the people must think that this paper needs to be cited. This is very important paper as far as my work is concerned, right? Publishing ethics. This is a very important point again, because many a times the people request, please put my name in your paper. I also will put my name in my paper. So I had always followed one thing. I never tell people, please put my name in the paper, right? And I never put name of the people who have not worked uh, for that paper. Huh. If he is very good friend of mine and I cannot say no to him, in that case, what I can do is I can give some work to him. Okay. So who can be the authors? Researchers should conduct their research by following best practices. Our results must be presented clearly, honestly, without fabrication, falsification, and without any inappropriate data manipulation. No data, text, or theories shall be taken from the others. Okay. There is one more important word, paraphrasing. That means people say, yeah, I have referred to that book or that paragraph, then I have read it and that I have written in my own words. Why I shall cite that? In that case also, we need to cite that person or that book, because the main idea came into mind of that person. So we need to mention that one, right? So in introduction section, many a times whatever the plagiarism that has been caught, that happens in the first section of the papers, and that is introduction section. Whatever the things we write there, for example, I said some time back, more than 99% of the households in India, the LPG has reached in the household. How I can say this sentence? Because I have referred to Government of India website. Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. So in that case, for this sentence, I need to cite that website. I need to give. I cannot say on my own कि one third of the population of the world still relies on the traditional biomass cook stores. Yes, it is right. But who says this? This information is given by World Health Organization in their recent report. Right. So I must say, according to WHO report, I have to give that citation and then I have to write. I cannot give such kind of data on my own. So in that case, paraphrasing, if it is done, then in that case also I need to acknowledge the original researcher who has actually reported that kind of data. Authors should make sure that they have taken permission for using the software, questionnaires, surveys in their studies. One should avoid untrue statements about individual person or a company. Few days back only, one of our research scholars had come to me, and he has sent one paper to me for review, and he had written, means he is working in solar steel, and he had written so and so company in Gujarat had manufactured this one. I have performed this research on it, and these are limitations of this so and so solar steel. So in that case, I cannot name that company. What I can say, the one commercial solar steel I had used, and these are the results I have found with that commercial. And never I can show the photograph there on the to the journals, or I cannot say the name of the company unless the permission is granted by that company, because any company cannot say means what are the shortcomings of their device. They will not accept if they are getting published. So these things also we need to keep in mind. Then adding or deleting the author during revision period is not permitted. Ensure the author group, corresponding author, and order of authors are all correct at submission. So this point also is very important. As I mentioned, if person he's done some work, then only we can add his or her name in that. So if you have a group of faculty members, group of researchers, then whatever the work on which you want to publish your paper, you can assign some work. For example, sir, these are the 10 papers. Please perform review on these papers. These are the 5 figures, out of which 2 figures. Please prepare these figures in AutoCAD or using Paint or any other software. This kind of work you can do. Or sir, this is the paper I have prepared. Please thoroughly review this paper, give me some comments, and then definitely that person can be one of the co-authors. Now the question comes, who can be the first author and who can be the corresponding author? Okay. These are two very important authors, keep in mind. There are many faculty members also in this presentation. Whenever we are going for government job, whenever we are going for the actually jobs at the reputed organizations, okay, so you will find these people will not say how many number of publications you have. So what is your contribution in those publications? As far as possible, if you are first author, more than that, if you are corresponding author, then that has very much importance. Keep in mind. Who can be the first author? The research scholars who are performing research on any topic, they shall be the first authors. Okay, every time they will be the first authors. And the guide, there might be multiple guides, one or two guides. So main guide who is actually contributing into his research, he can be the corresponding author. So research scholars, I request you do not publish papers without information to guides, right? And guides are also requested that the papers, please see the papers carefully and be the corresponding authors. If you are, let's say you are at third number, you are at fourth number, no issues. If that star mark or asterisk mark is there after your name, that has very much importance, because 50% weightage goes to the corresponding author, and remaining all percentages, they are contributed, they are divided among all authors. In some cases, 30% weightage goes to corresponding author, 30% weightage goes to first author, and remaining weightage goes to remaining authors. And that is why first author and corresponding authors are very important. Research scholars are requested not to be the first author and the corresponding authors. Your guides must be the corresponding authors. Without information to the guides, no publication shall be communicated, because corresponding author has very much importance. He has a huge responsibility. Keep in mind, when you are sending your paper to any reputed journal, because whenever the comments are coming, major revisions, minor revisions, if you see, go through the comments, at that time you will remember your guides in that case, because there are many comments to which you might not have the answers, but your guides might have those answers. And that is why I request research scholars that be the first authors, but do not be the corresponding authors. Right. Then plagiarism. As I already mentioned, most of the times the plagiarism is actually caught in the introduction sections, first section of the paper. I am going to tell you all the sections, and in detail I am going to tell you what exactly is need to be written in the sections. So most of the times that is happened, because what happens in introduction section, what we are writing is whatever the background of that paper and whatever the work that is being already carried out by other researchers. That is, introduction section itself is one of the review of other papers. So there is more probability of getting caught into plagiarism. Okay, and now all the publishers, they are using this cross check, the softwares such as Turnitin, Authenticate, such as these softwares they are using, and there all kinds of papers through which we have extracted some material. If you have extracted material from any of the websites available on the world, that also can be caught by these plagiarism check software. So I have one demo for you. Again, I'm going for this Authenticate. We have this registered version of Authenticate. Okay, I'll be logging into this one. Right. Now the same paper that I showed you, it is already published. Okay, this was first published in the conference, then it got published in the UGC Care journal, Advanced Engineering Forum. Okay, so let us see whether it catches or not. So upload a file, first name, research paper, then I'm choosing the file. I uploaded this file. Since yesterday I have done this exercise, this is third time I'm doing this exercise. It is processing now. When it was communicated to journal, it was less than 10%. Now it is showing 76%. Okay, the same paper is there. Let us see what is there actually. 76%. What it has caught? 58% is this one. Okay, let me check what exactly it is. Okay, so I'm going into this reference. See, this is the paper. As I told you, Advanced Engineering Forum, Volume 46. It is already published in 2022. laboratory and field performance of two involved developed biomass cookstoves. Okay, and this software has caught that 58% of the material is from that paper only. So the point to be highlighted here is if we are taking any material from any of the website in the world, that will be caught. So what shall we do? One thing we can do, the complete sentence we cannot copy. Paraphrasing, people are doing paraphrasing. As I mentioned, without changing the meaning, the sentence is reframed. Okay, you have reframed the sentence. Again, it will be caught. So what you can do, you give the reference. Do not miss from giving the reference. Give the reference to that author, right? So this is regarding the plagiarism. One more thing, the people say, I have seen some papers. They are taking some pictures, images from open source websites, okay, and they are putting in their papers. So that also is not allowed. At one point of time, it might be allowed in your reports, but in the journal papers, it is not at all allowed. All reputed journals, they ask for permissions for those figures, for that data. So if you are taking any figure from any journal, any source, you need to contact that editor or publisher. You take permission. Uh, I I shown you my paper review article. About 32 figures are there, and in that 18 figures are actually we have borrowed from different journals. Okay, and one figure from Philips magazine, right? So to every of these publishers, we have written, we have sent them request, and they had granted the permission, and they had told us how that can be mentioned. I will show you for your reference what exactly is the methodology. In this paper, if you see, starting from I think the first figure, this figure, see, it was borrowed from Philips. Philips publishes one magazine password, right? So through that, I have we have taken this nomenclature afterwards we have given, but then also we have written to figure this magazine, and they had told us how to cite this Royal Philips reprinted with permission. All these words they had given. Okay, this is the way to cite that figure. Then this is one we have adapted with permission from Energy for Sustainable Development. It is other journal, though it is elsewhere journal. Then all data in the tables. For that also we have given the references. Okay, from where we have taken it. Then this is the figure we have prepared. Our theory we have developed. Right, as I mentioned in review article, we need to use your theory. This is one we have adapted from again Energy for Sustainable Development. Energy for Sustainable Development. So different journals we have mentioned the names, and these are the diagrams. This one adapted, and these are the diagrams we had prepared. So these are the results. Let's say for metal cook stoves, we had some 10 papers. So all the data we collected, and we had put in one graph. We have prepared the graph, and the nature of this graph, what exactly we are getting observing from that graph, that we have put in our results and discussion. Okay, so these all graphs we have prepared on our own, but we have cited from where we have adapted this data. Yeah, we have used the software take plot for taking the data, and that we had taken into Excel, and then we had prepared these graphs. So the point I want to mention here is we cannot actually take the figures on our own, right? Plagiarism, I told you. Then co-authorship, who can be the author, that also I told you. Then if there are number of authors, let's say 5 or 6 authors are there in a paper. Nowadays, while communicating the paper itself, when you are adding the author, there itself one tab the journals have added what is the contribution of that author. So contribution also we need to decide what exactly is contribution when you are actually putting so many number of authors. So each author must have been given what exactly is his or her contribution in that paper. Many a times in the title page or cover letter itself, they are asking for the contribution of different authors. One more thing I want to tell you, there is no limit on number of authors. Keep in mind. Sometimes we feel if number of authors are increasing, what will happen? Okay, there is no limit on authors. While doing review of literature on that bookstore paper, I had seen one paper with 105 authors. Okay, you will not believe that paper is with me. 105 authors, 2 pages only, names of authors were there. What was that paper? In 5 different countries, group of researchers had conducted the field studies on different bookstores. So conducting field studies, that is very elaborate work, that is very extensive work. For months, they have to spend in the fields and they have to collect the data, and then accordingly they had collected the data, and one publication they had, one paper they had published. So in that case, that is justifiable in number of authors. But what shall be actually desirable number of authors? So I will suggest not more than 4 authors. One first author as the research scholar, 2 guides, means guide and co-guide, or 1 or 2 additional faculty members you can add. Not more than 4, or at the max 5 can be the number of authors. Okay, though I have seen these many number of authors, because we need to justify what exactly work they have done. Co-authorship is also very important. Preparation of article, right? As I mentioned, every journal you will be finding guidelines for author. So one example I have taken here, author guidelines for Journal of Renewable Energy, this Wiley journal, which is again highly reputed journal. Journal of Renewable Energy. Okay. So these are for authors. So you start reading these. Oh, what are the terms and condition? What is the peer review process? Then article processing charges, types of articles. I have taken this data from this one only. Okay. Title, abstract, introduction, materials and methods, results and discussion, conclusion. Many a times, some reputed journals, they do not give the template, but many journals, they give the template also. So you need to follow strictly that template. But generally, these elsewhere and Springer journals, they do not give the template. They are only giving a, what shall be general format, referencing, data formatting. So they have given here what shall be the format there, right? How to prepare the table, copyright, permission. So all these things, once we need to read prior to sending it to the journal, right? Then one more thing, before going to the components, I want to show you visit to some of the websites, right? Because we need to see a, ah, so these are the 3 ways. These are the 3 sources actually for your promotions, for your completion of PhDs. It is expected that you need to publish your papers either in UGC Care journal, or in Scopus listed journal, or in Web of Science listed. Okay. So first one, UGC Care. So this is one website. Okay, you need to register on it. So after that, so now I have logged into it. So UGC Care list one. Okay. Title of the journal. What happens? Many paid journals, their fees are not so much. That means 3,000, 5,000, not more than 10,000. And they actually mislead the new researchers that our journal is listed in Scopus, our journal is listed in Web of Science and UGC Care. So they will give these logos on their journal homepage. And we actually communicate the paper, we pay the fees, and afterwards, when it comes to the selection of the papers by the management, so there we come to know that this one is not actually listed in the that specific listing. That means UGC Care, Scopus, or Web of Science. So what I will suggest is, prior to sending the paper, you please visit these three websites. First one, that is UGC Care. This is one example I have taken. Advanced Engineering Forum. Okay, this is journal, one of the journals. Let us search. You can see June 2019 to present. This word is important. Keep in mind, to present. June 2019 to 24 or 23. It doesn't have any meaning. Okay. If it is to present, that means at present it is there. Then view into details. You will see. You will directly go directed towards the journal homepage. Publisher, then focus subject general engineering, UGC KRE. And while sending your paper, please take screenshot of this page. Okay, screenshot of this page. And unfortunately, let's say if next year it is not been listed or it is been removed, then you can at least convince your management or whosoever is there that this actually was there in previously in the UC care list. Many a times, whatever you are saying, it will not be accepted. But as the last point of your justification, this screenshot you can keep with you. Okay. And you can see the reputation of the journal also. If that is for many years, coverage years, then you need not worry, because if it is for many years, it will be remaining there. This is one point. Okay, as the UGC care. Secondly, Scopus. You will find on many journal home pages that this is listed in Scopus, but you visit to this website and put the same name. I will be putting the same name. Advanced Engineering Forum. It was listed in Web UGC Care, but now check in Scopus. It is not there. I am not finding it. Journal of Physics Conference Series. Advanced Engineering Forum is not there. Okay. So do not get misled by the websites. This is also a master journal list by Clarivate, right? Or Web of Science. So again, I will be putting that advanced engineering forum here. It is not there. Advanced engineering informatics is there, but advanced engineering forum is not there. So whatever the paper of BTech students got published, that was there in UGC care, but not in Scopus and Web of Science. But I was also knowing that, but seeing the quality of the paper and the kind of work done, I was knowing it will not be published in Scopus or Web of Science, and that is why we had chosen that way. But keep in mind that journal also is reputed and it is freely available. Means free journal is there, so you did not pay for that. Okay. So this was one more point I wanted to highlight here, how you shall select your journal, right? Identify a suitable journal that we completed, publishing ethics we completed, preparing the article I completed. Now, this is last point. Components of an article. Now here I am referring to the original research article because I said a lot regarding review article also. Now we are focusing on a complete or original research article, which is based on the work we had conducted through the BTech students during their projects, through MTech students during their dissertation work, or through PhD students during their PhD research. Okay. Title. It shall be concise and informative. Avoid abbreviations, and formulae wherever possible. Okay. So title shall be so catchy that your paper uh, means chances of seeing your paper not getting rejected within first 3 days. Okay. So if we want to reduce those chances, we need to look into the title also, concise and informative title. Then second point is abstract. Abstract, many researchers they suggest you write the abstract at the end of the paper. You complete your paper, and then in the end only, when you look at your paper, you are now knowing what exactly is the background of the paper, what exactly is the methodology used for preparing the paper. Thirdly, what are the important results and discussions of the paper? When you are knowing all these things, then it will be very easy for you to writing the abstract. So it is suggested that write the abstract in the end of the paper. Right. So what are the number of words expected in the abstract? Depending on the journal instructions guidelines, the number of words vary from 200 to 300. 200 is okay, I think. 200 words abstract. Okay. What shall be there in the abstract? As I mentioned, few lines, 2 3 lines on the background, then 5 to 6 lines on the methodology that we have used in our paper, and 5 to 6 lines on the important results and the conclusions. So all that 5 to 6 lines, 5 to 6 lines, 3 to 4 lines, all these about 10 to 12 lines, that will be around 200 words, and that will be a good abstract, right? Here one important word, two words are there. Stand alone. Abstract shall be written in such a way that if only abstract is read, then you will come to know what is inside the paper. As I mentioned previously also, while reading the paper, read the abstract carefully and read the conclusions carefully. Why I told? Because abstract is written in such a way that the whole crisp of the paper that is there in the abstract. Okay. Then keywords, these are also very important because when the papers are being searched by the researchers, for example, title of one of my PhD scholars is development of domestic size biogas plant. Okay, this is the title of his research. So what are the keywords? Biogas plant, biogas. Okay. Biogas plant is one of the keywords there. Development of the domestic size biogas plant. Then methane extraction, That can be one of the keyword there. Then digester can be one of the keyword there. Anaerobic digestion can be the keyword there. Why I am saying these keywords? Because when any new researcher working in your area will searching for the papers, if your keywords are very suitable, then your papers will be pop up there initially. He will see your papers first and he will cite your paper. That means for getting more and more citations, keywords play very important role, right? Then introduction. One more question is always asked by the researchers. As I mentioned, how many number of papers must be referred for review article? That answer I have already given. At least 100 papers. उससे कम है तो don't go for review article, right? So second question is asked always, how many number of words shall be there in one good research article? I don't say review article. Review article में तो I will say कि 25,000 to 30,000 words will be there. बट एक रिसर्च आर्टिकल में कितने वर्ड्स होने चाहिए? सो आई विल सजेस्ट not less than 6,000 words. Keep this in mind. If you are new researchers, please note it down. Not less than 6,000 words. Reputed journals do not accept the papers if the number of words are less than 6,000 words. 6,000 to 12,000. Sometimes in some journals, this range is 6 to 8,000. In some journals, this range is 8 to 12,000. So our range shall be from 6,000 to 12,000, right? So number of words. So now question comes, from where these 6 or 7,000 words will come? How these words will be contributed? As I already told, the abstract shall have the number of words 200. हर एक का अपना अपना लिमिट है. Abstract will be of 200. So next section is introduction. We need to write introduction section in such a way that the number of words shall not be less than 1,500. 1,500 words इसमें से आना चाहिए. What shall be written there in introduction section? As I mentioned previously also, introduction section is that section which gives background of the work. Okay, background of the work. Now again I will be giving the example. Research paper on LPG, efficient use of LPG stove. So what shall be the background? Background shall be how indoor emissions have been increased due to overuse of biomass cook stoves. Indoor emissions have increased. What are the bad effects of indoor emissions? To reduce emissions, then the methods are go for use of LPG or kerosene stove. Now kerosene stoves are almost obsolete, right? So we cannot use them. So then the case comes for LPG. So what exactly is the condition, situation of LPG? Use of LPG or natural gas internationally is important because you are referring to international journal. Internationally and nationally, all that comes into your background. Then what is your work? Right? Efficient use of LPG stove, and that also is domestic LPG stove. So how many researchers have done such kind of work? So let's say there are 25 to 30 researchers. We need to refer to all those researchers, and the number of papers those must be cited in introduction section must not be less than 25. Keep in mind, 25 papers must be cited in the introduction section if you want your paper to be getting accepted, published in good articles, good journals, right? So every researcher, whatever the work he has done, you read it carefully and you make your case. As I mentioned, the number of words shall be about 1,500 and the number of papers shall be about 25 up to introduction till the end of introduction. So what will be the end of introduction? You started with the background, then you have done whole of the research survey, literature survey, and in the end you will be saying, after thorough review of literature, it is found that the experimentation on different cooking cycles, work on experimentation is missing or limited. That is why the present work reports detailed experimental analysis of some of the cooking cycles. So that means at the end, you need to make case of your paper. आपका पेपर बोर्ड पर आना चाहिए. Your paper needs to be in consideration with the reviewers, so that final few sentences will be regarding your paper at the end of the introduction, right? So here the introduction ends. Your number of words are about 1200 to 1500. Now next section is materials and methods. See, these instructions I have taken from one of the reputed journal. In your journal, whatever you want to send your paper, the words might be different, but the flow will be same. What I am telling, materials and methods, right? Here what you are doing is actually what you are doing in the paper, means what is the methodology you have done, then what are the parameters you are using, details of your experimental setup, then types of the parameters, that means operating parameters, design parameters, then your environmental parameters or any other kind of parameters. Then what are the range of the parameters? Okay, plan of experimentation, where you are going for full factorial or you are going for any design of experiment methods. Okay, DOE methods. Those methodologies only will come here. That means actual results you will not say here, but what exactly you are doing for the paper, those experimentation, means procedure for experimentation, then details of experimental setup along with its diagram, then what are the equipments used, their accuracies, their make, everything you will be doing. Then next point is theory and calculations. Here again, in continuation with the previous point, what is the data reduction? Again, I will be taking that example of heat transfer enhancement. When I am going for heat transfer enhancement, I need to calculate the Reynolds number. I need to calculate heat transfer enhancement, Nusselt number, pressure drop. Okay, I need to use some formulas. So all those data reduction and formulas, whatever I have used, those will be come here. Methodology used for calculation. If you are calculating efficiency, let's say of biomass cook stove or LPG stove or IC engine, so what are the different kinds of efficiencies you have calculated? Whether it is the heat transfer efficiency, whether it is combustion efficiency, whether it is overall efficiency. In case of IC engines, whether it is indicated specific efficiency, brake specific efficiency. Okay, so all these things and the flow of all that will be mentioned here, but not a single result you will be mentioning there, keep in mind, or not a single calculation, actual calculation will be mentioning, only the calculation method will be mentioned there. Next comes, sometimes results and discussions are different in different sections, and sometimes results are different and discussions are different. When it is written, results to be written as different in different section and discussion in different section, that means they have different meaning definitely. Okay, results. What shall be mentioned here? Whatever the experimentation I have done. Okay. See, data analysis. I was requested to actually give presentation on data analysis, but I was not ready because this presentation was ready with me. Right. So data analysis is very important part. Keep in mind. Again, I will be giving example of one of our students working on that solar stills. Last week only we had the meeting with him. He had conducted more than 100 experiments on that solar still, and he had sent one research paper prepared by him for my first review. So we had conducted one online meeting. I saw he only one graph was there. You see, you have conducted 100 plus experiments and you are showing only one graph. Is it possible? Because if you want to get it published in a reputed journal, you need to actually analyze the data in such a way that more and more results will pop up, will come up through that one. There were many parameters actually, means design parameters. In that, the inclination of that reflector was there. Operating parameters, in that flow rate of the saline water was there. Then environmental parameter was there, sunlight, what is the intensity of solar radiation, that was there. So what we did, we analyzed the results carefully and we found keeping one parameter constant, can we vary the other parameters? Sorry, keeping the other parameters constant, can we vary one parameter? It is called as one at a time. Okay, one factor at a time. OFT, right? One factor is changed. That means flow rate of water is changed. And other parameters are kept constant. And we found key out of the data we can present 5 to 6 important plots or graphs. So here the role of guides is very important. Guides and co-guides. Right? So when you are performing experimentation, at one point of time, experimentation is not so important, but data analysis is very, very important. Because if you do not understand what is in my hand, मेरे हाथ में कितना प्रेशियस चीज है, ये अगर मुझे पता ही नहीं चला, so it is very difficult there, right? So data analysis and then making the graphs out of it, okay, and presenting the results means again the same statement. It was found that with increase in the Reynolds number, heat transfer enhancement, heat transfer coefficient increases, right? With increase in Reynolds number, pressure drop was found to be increasing. ये सारा रिजल्ट्स का पार्ट है. तो फिर डिस्कशंस में क्या आएगा? What is in discussions? Discussions में again the role of guides is very important here. Discussions में why the results are coming in that fashion, why those results are, that means with increase in Reynolds number, why the heat transfer enhancement occurs. Now the researchers have read many number of papers, and in papers they have given the discussions, and your work might be similar to those works. Let's say 10 research papers are there similar to your work. You read all the discussions and you can make your own justification. You might have increased the range of Reynolds number in your case, okay, but in your discussion you can say due to increase in Reynolds number, the turbulence increases, and turbulence has one very important advantage, that it increases intermolecular interaction, and due to which the heat transfer enhancement increases. It has one adverse effect also, because pressure drop also increases. Again, the same reason is there, because the turbulence has increased, the pressure drop also will increase. So for discussion, you need to again look into literature review. So when you are submitting your plan of research, literature review का आपका जो component रहता है research का plan, वो start से end तक रहता है. Why it is there? Because literature review process is continuous process. In every section, you need to include it. So I told you in the previous page, कहाँ पर introduction section में I told you कि 25 कम से कम research papers चाहिए, right? 1500 words I told. Materials and methods, here again you need to add about 1005 words. Theory calculation में आपको कम से कम 1000 words ऐड करने पड़ेंगे. Results में कम से कम 1000 word चाहिए. Discussion में कम से कम 1000 से 1200 word चाहिए. यहाँ पर आपको similar results, देखो अपना केस कैसे बनता है, ठीक है? When you have done, you have read through many papers and you found similar kind of results were obtained by some of the researchers or many researchers. So at different places, when you are saying, in our case, when the Reynolds number was changed from 50,000 to 1,50,000, there was increase in heat transfer coefficient by this range to this range, and similar result was obtained by so many researchers. Give citations to those papers here. So here also you have scope of adding at least 10 to 15 papers. So at the end of the article, How many number of papers shall be there? I will say not less than 30 papers. At least 30 to 35 papers must be there at the end, क्योंकि वो जो references का section रहता है, it has to contribute at least 1000 words. Then only you will be reach or cross that 6 or 7000 words limit, and then only getting the chances of accepting your paper will increase. Again, one more question is there कि how many number of figures shall be there? Not more than 6. 5 या 6 से ज्यादा फिगर्स नहीं चाहिए. टेबल्स भी आपके 2 या 3 से ज्यादा टेबल्स नहीं चाहिए. ठीक है. डिस्कशन में क्या होना चाहिए? आई ऑलरेडी टोल्ड यू. कंक्लूजन्स. इन योर डिस्कशंस यू आर मेंशनिंग कि why the results are coming and what exactly are the reasons. So important results and there some points of discussion, all those important points will be there in conclusions, and this conclusion again will contribute to approximately 200 words. ठीक है. So in all conclusion के बाद आपका referencing, I told you referencing 1000 words तक contribute करना चाहिए. Number of papers to be referred, that shall not be less than 30. So these are some referencing styles they are being used by different journals, right? So आजकल तो you have Google Scholar, then you have Mendeley Desktop. Okay, in Word also you can do this referencing, but you need to input data. It is like programming, right? So I'll be giving you one demo here. Those who are not knowing how to use Google Scholar for referencing, right? So I'm writing here one of the titles of the paper. What you need to do is you go on Google Scholar. This is the window of the Google Scholar. Okay. Here you paste the title of the paper. I am typing here one of the papers. ठीक है, ये एक पेपर है जो मान लो आप लोगों ने यहाँ पर पेस्ट किया है, जिसका आप रेफरेंसिंग करना चाहते हैं. तो यू गो इन दिस साइट. यहाँ पर ये साइट का ऑप्शन है, देखो साइट पर क्लिक करोगे तो यू विल फाइंड these many referencing styles. ठीक है. So in the author guidelines you see what exactly is the style the journal is using. Okay, I have one author guideline also for you. एक ऑथर का गाइडलाइन मैंने यहाँ पर रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी ऑथर का गाइडलाइन यहाँ पर मैंने डाउनलोड करके रखा था आपके लिए. तो इसमें रेफरेंसिंग कैसे होना चाहिए उन्होंने दिया है. रेफरेंसिंग फॉर्मेट. ठीक है, ये जर्नल का रेफरेंस है. कैसे दिया है देखो आप कि फर्स्ट इज द नेम ऑफ द ऑथर. ये सारे ऑथर्स के नाम है. जर्नल ऑफ साइंटिफिक कम्युनिकेशन उसका ये शॉर्ट फॉर्म है. 163 it is the volume, 210 is the year, 51 to 59 is पेज नंबर, एंड आफ्टर दैट ये डॉक्यूमेंट इंडेक्स है. ठीक है, डॉक्यूमेंट नंबर. ठीक है. तो यहाँ पर ये कुछ स्टाइल लग रहा है. यू सी व्हाट एग्जैक्टली इज द स्टाइल ऑफ योर जर्नल. नाउ कमिंग टू अगेन गूगल स्कॉलर, which style is matching with whatever we saw. थोड़ा सा कौन सा स्टाइल मैच कर रहा है. कभी कभी क्या ऐसे होता है कि कोई भी स्टाइल कंप्लीटली मैच नहीं करता है, बट यू आर वेरी क्लोज टू दैट स्टाइल. जैसे हमारे केस में अभी हम देखेंगे, एक मिनट, यहाँ पर क्या दिया है. हाँ, दिस इज इन ब्रैकेट एंड देन दिस वन. हाँ, ये कुछ थोड़ा सा मैच कर रहा है. ओनली थिंग यहाँ पर उन्होंने ये कोलॉन जो दिया है वो नहीं है. तो यू आइडेंटिफाई द स्टाइल. There are many elsewhere journals where they only say कि follow one style. Okay, so most of the times we follow this APA style. अमेरिकन फिजिक्स एसोसिएशन, इनका ये स्टाइल हम फॉलो करते हैं. And just copy this and paste in your paper. So you need not actually do any labor work for this. Okay, the styles are available here. And one more thing is Mendeley desktop, where you just put all the papers which you have downloaded, and whatever the style you want, all available styles are there for that. So referencing you need not do manually. That is what I want to tell you here. Reference the components of article. Okay. Submission of the article, electronic submission are being followed by all the journals. तो आपको submit online पर click करना है जर्नल के होम पेज पर जाके. And before that I already told you कि read all the instructions carefully, whether the journal is paid or free. तो सब check कीजिए, because if you do not check it at the time of publication, पूरा process 6 महीने का होने के बाद if they ask for the money, that is very dangerous, difficult. Okay, already I told you. You see the indexing, whether it is Scopus, Web of Science, or UGC Care, confirm it multiple times, then only select that journal, then see the journal guidelines, whether it has any template, then follow that template, otherwise they reject the paper or send it back to the authors. Lot of time is wasted there. Okay, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक सबमिशन का पूरा प्रोसेस फॉलो करना है, जहां पर यहाँ अगेन corresponding author, that means guides का important role होता है. Guides are supposed to get all this work done through the students, and this paper needs to be communicated through the email of the guides corresponding authors. ठीक है, उनका full postal address, then include keywords, 1 कॉलम है या 2 कॉलम है, फिगर्स, वो सब वहां पर पूछा जाएगा आपको. सबमिशन चेकलिस्ट दिया रहता है सबमिशन गाइडलाइन में. चेक वेदर इट इज देयर. नाउअडेज जर्नल्स आर आस्किंग फॉर 2 मोर थिंग्स. हाइलाइट्स चाहिए. देखो, एक तो टाइटल पेज रहता है, देन रहता है कवर लेटर, हाइलाइट्स, ग्राफिकल एब्स्ट्रैक्ट. तो आई हैव पुट हियर सम हाइलाइट्स एंड ग्राफिकल एब्स्ट्रैक्ट ऑफ वन ऑफ माय पेपर. ये ग्राफिकल एब्स्ट्रैक्ट है. ग्राफिकल एब्स्ट्रैक्ट क्या होता है कि ग्राफिकली हाउ यू विल बी रिपोर्टिंग रिगार्डिंग योर पेपर. ये एक बनाया एक पेपर के लिए मैंने. An innovative methodology to investigate heat transfer coefficient in natural convection for plate fin arrays. So whatever the important result experimental setup का diagram है and important results I have put here in the graphical abstract. So graphical abstract में आप whatever the methodology you have done, that also you can put in the form of flow chart. थोड़ा colorful होना चाहिए, because that if the journal is paid subscription based, then also the along with abstract that also pops up once the paper is accepted, right? One more, highlights also I have prepared. Highlight के लिए पहले आप लोग एक देखो कि हाईलाइट के लिए व्हाट एग्जैक्टली इज द गाइडलाइन. हाईलाइट ये काफी इंपॉर्टेंट है. क्या लिखा है? ग्राफिकल एब्स्ट्रैक्ट एंड हाइलाइट्स फाइल वेरेवर एप्लीकेबल, मींस ये देना पड़ेगा आपको इस जर्नल के लिए. एंड एल्सवेयर के सारे जर्नल्स में ये लगता है. हाइलाइट्स का थोड़ा केयरफुली देखिए क्या लिखा है. मैंडेटरी फॉर दिस जर्नल, प्लीज इंक्लूड हाइलाइट्स इन द फाइल नेम. हाइलाइट फाइल का नाम ही दे दो. इंक्लूड 3 to 5 बुलेट पॉइंट्स. देखो 3 से 5 चाहिए, और हर पॉइंट में क्या चाहिए? मैक्सिमम 85 कैरेक्टर्स, इंक्लूडिंग स्पेसेस पर बुलेट पॉइंट. हर बुलेट पॉइंट में 85 कैरेक्टर्स, नॉट वर्ड्स, 85 कैरेक्टर्स इंक्लूडिंग स्पेसेस होना चाहिए. तो उन्होंने कुछ एग्जांपल्स हाईलाइट के दिए. मैंने भी अपना एक एग्जांपल यहां पर पुट किया है, हम उसको रेफर करते हैं. आई एम सॉरी, थोड़ा ये अंदर बाहर हो रहा है, बट आई डू नॉट हैव द अदर ऑप्शन हियर. हाइलाइट्स, एक पेपर का हाईलाइट लिखा है, वो आपको मैं शेयर करता हूं यहां पर. ठीक है, ये 4 बुलेट पॉइंट्स में है. तब ये 85 कैरेक्टर्स में है कि नहीं, ये भी चेक करते हैं. जैसे रिव्यू में जाके वर्ड काउंट में जाएंगे, आप देखिए यहाँ पर ये सबसे बड़ा सेंटेंस जो है ये कैरेक्टर विद स्पेसेस 85 तक आया है, ठीक है। तो एक पब्लिश पेपर का है, हाइलाइट्स फॉर योर रेफरेंस, ओके। सप्लीमेंट्री फाइल्स आल्सो आर आस्क्ड, देन मैन्युस्क्रिप्ट का स्पेल चेकिंग, ग्रामर चेकिंग के लिए आप ग्रामरली का यूज कर सकते हैं, नो इश्यूज, बट डू नॉट गो फॉर दिस चैट जीपीटी एटसेट्रा, ओके। बिकॉज नाउ जैसे एआई में यहाँ पर डेवलपमेंट हो रहा है, वैसे जर्नल्स आल्सो दे आर डेवलपिंग देयर सॉफ्टवेयर्स, ये इसका चैट जीपीटी से यूज हुआ है नहीं हुआ है, they are doing these kinds of research also. So avoid going on ChatGPT and taking the data from there. You can go for Grammarly for normal grammar checking. इतना हाईफाई ग्रामर नहीं रहता है, नॉर्मल वर्ड्स जिसमें आप आपका इंग्लिश जो है, इंग्लिश सेंटेंसेस जो है जनरली पास्ट टेंस में ही हम लोग लिखते हैं, and that was done. We, I, me, you, these words are avoided, keep in mind, ठीक है। Am I audible? हेलो।
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
हाँ, क्योंकि अभी लाइट गया था ना, दैट इज व्हाई आई आस्क्ड यू। सबमिशन ऑफ आर्टिकल्स, अगेन प्रीवियसली आल्सो आई टोल्ड यू, परमिशन के रिलेटेड मैंने बताया था, एक एग्जांपल भी दिया मैंने, परमिशंस कैसे लेते हैं, क्या है, सारे परमिशन चाहिए, बिकॉज जर्नल्स फाइनली किसी भी चीज का दे विल नॉट टेक द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, सीधा वो अगर आपका एक्सेप्टेड भी है, अगर अगर कोई कॉम्प्रोमाइज इन परमिशंस है तो वो पूरा ब्लेम आपके ऊपर आ सकता है। दैट इज व्हाई इंटरनेट का सोर्सेस भी अगर है, इमेजेस है, तो गो इन द सोर्स। कोई इमेज आपने इंटरनेट पर देखा है तो उस पर क्लिक करो, डबल क्लिक करो, आप उसके सोर्स में जाओ और होम पेज पर जाके वो उसका जो पब्लिशर है उसको ढूंढो और उसको लिखो। अगर वो नहीं मिल रहा है तो छोड़ दो उस इमेज को, आप खुद का अपना डेवलप करो एंड यू ड्रॉ द इमेजेस देयर, बट डू नॉट गो डायरेक्टली ऑन द इंटरनेट, बहुत सारा अवेलेबल है, वहां से लिया और पेस्ट किया और सीधा साइट किया, वो भी नहीं चलेगा, यू नीड टू टेक द परमिशंस देयर, ठीक है ना। एक कॉम्पिटिंग इंटरेस्ट का रहता है, तो हम लोगों का वैसे भी कोई इंटरेस्ट नहीं रहता है, हम लोग डिक्लेयर कर सकते हैं, नॉट एन इशू। रेफरीज, बहुत सारे जर्नल्स में ऐसा रहता है कि यू नीड टू सजेस्ट 3 रेफरेंस कंपलसरी। कुछ जर्नल ऐसे रहते हैं कि आप वो स्किप कर सकते हैं, हमें कोई लेना देना नहीं रहता है कि कौन सा रिव्यूअर चाहिए, क्या चाहिए। जनरली आप अपने जो जिनको आप जानते हैं ऐसे कुछ रिव्यूअर्स वगैरह बिल्कुल नाम मत दीजिए, क्योंकि ये लोग आपसे सिर्फ मांगते हैं, दे विल नेवर गिव द पेपर्स टू दोज रिव्यूअर्स, ठीक है ना। अगर आपको कंपल्सरीली देना ही है तो ऐसे रिव्यूअर्स दीजिए कि दोज पेपर्स यू हैव रेफर्ड, जैसे कि आपने 25 पेपर रेफर किए हैं, उसमें से 4-5 पेपर में कुछ ऐसे मान लो कि वो ऑथर्स आ रहे हैं, उनको रिव्यूअर दीजिए। उसका फायदा ये है कि दे विल बी वेरी हैप्पी टू सी देयर पेपर्स साइटेड बाय यू, तो आपके लिए थोड़ा सा क्या है कि एक पॉजिटिव एटीट्यूड बन जाएगा। तो मेजर रिव्यू का माइनर रिव्यू में कन्वर्जन हो सकता है, क्योंकि फाइनली वो भी एक आदमी है। दैट इज व्हाई कि इफ यू आर सजेस्टिंग फॉर रिव्यूअर्स, go and see your reference list and suggest the reviewers from them. इंटरनेशनल, as far as possible इंटरनेशनल रिव्यूअर्स दीजिए, 3 में से 2 इंटरनेशनल दीजिए, एक नेशनल दीजिए जो आपके आसपास का बिल्कुल ना, ठीक है ना। तो ऐसा कुछ कीजिए कि जिससे क्या है ना, पूरा प्रोसेस एकदम थोरो होना चाहिए, राइट। रेफरेंस का बताया, बहुत सारे जर्नल्स ऐसे होते हैं कि दे डू नॉट आस्क फॉर द रेफरेंस, तो स्किप करो, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं। ऐसा भी होता है सजेस्टेड रिव्यूअर्स एंड कौन सा एक रहता है ऑब्जेक्शनेबल रिव्यूअर्स। आपको किसी रिव्यूअर के बारे में कुछ ऑब्जेक्शन है क्या, पहले तो हम लोग जानते नहीं है हमारा पेपर किसने रिव्यू किया है, तो ऐसा ऑब्जेक्टेड का तो सवाल आता नहीं। मैंने तो कभी ऑब्जेक्टेड रिव्यू, क्योंकि वो ऑप्शन रहता है, बट आई हैव नेवर यूज्ड दैट ऑप्शन, कोई लेना देना नहीं है, ठीक है। रिजेक्ट हो जाता है तो उसका कमेंट्स देखो एंड सेंड इट टू द अदर जर्नल। ये एक और एक सवाल आता है, मेरे बहुत सारे दोस्त भी रहते हैं, बोलते हैं मुझे कि व्हाई यू आर नॉट, क्योंकि ऐसे कुछ पेपर्स मेरे पास है कि जो 4-4 5-5 जर्नल में रिजेक्ट होके आए हैं, तो मुझे पूछते हैं कि व्हाई यू आर नॉट सबमिटिंग दिस पेपर एट टू मल्टीपल जर्नल्स एट अ टाइम। ये भी लोग करते हैं कि एक पेपर जो है ना, थोड़ा सा एकदम स्मॉल मॉडिफिकेशन करके 2-3 जगह पर एट ए टाइम भेज दो, और जिसका भी रिजल्ट जल्दी आता है, ठीक है ना, उसको ये करो और बाकी जगह से वो विड्रॉ करो। ये दिस इज वेरी रॉन्ग प्रैक्टिस, कीप इन माइंड। आई विल नेवर सजेस्ट एट दिस फोरम टू ऑल द न्यू रिसर्चर्स टू फॉलो दिस प्रैक्टिस। अच्छा, इसके ऊपर अभी तो कोई रोक नहीं है। दे आर टेकिंग अंडरटेकिंग एट मल्टीपल प्लेसेस कि आपको कवर लेटर में लिखना होता है, आपको टाइटल पेज में लिखना होता है, आपको 2-3 प्लेसेस पर वो अंडरटेकिंग आपको क्लिक करना होता है कि दिस पेपर हैज नॉट बीन कम्युनिकेटेड और पब्लिश, दिस वर्क हैज नॉट बीन कम्युनिकेटेड। तो हम लोग वो वहां पर हमें वो अंडरटेकिंग देना ही पड़ता है। बट नॉट दैट केस, कि ऐसा कोई भी प्रैक्टिस हमें नहीं करना है कि जिससे हमारा रेपुटेशन खराब हो जाए। ये मैंने देखे हैं कुछ ऐसे ऑथर्स कि उनके 2 जर्नल में पेपर आए हुए हैं, सेम सिमिलर दिखते हैं। ऐसा नहीं करना है, बिल्कुल मत करो। नंबर ऑफ पेपर्स डजंट मैटर, ऑलवेज कीप इन माइंड। आपका नंबर्स कम रहा तो भी चलेगा, आपका एच इंडेक्स अच्छा होना चाहिए। जितना भी पेपर है ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोगों ने वो रेफर करना चाहिए, ठीक है। तो नेवर कम्युनिकेट योर पेपर एट अ टाइम टू मल्टीपल जर्नल्स। एक में रिजेक्ट हो गया, ठीक है, नो इश्यूज, क्या मॉडिफिकेशन है वो करो, सेंड इट टू अदर जर्नल। ये थोड़ा टीडियस जॉब है, एक जर्नल से दूसरे जर्नल में भेजने के लिए आपको कम से कम 12, 14, 16 घंटा उसके ऊपर काम करना पड़ता है, करो। दूसरा कोई हमारे सामने ऑप्शन नहीं है। पहले आपने मान लो बहुत ही हाई इम्पैक्ट फैक्टर वाले जर्नल को भेजा था, नेक्स्ट टाइम थोड़ा सा कम इम्पैक्ट फैक्टर वाला जिसका एक्सेप्टेंस रेट ज्यादा है, ऐसे में भेज दो। कुछ तो कमी हो सकती है, बहुत बार हमें पता नहीं चलता है व्हाट एग्जैक्टली इज द प्रॉब्लम इन माय पेपर। तो आपके कलीग को दिखाओ पेपर, उसको बोलो कि ये थोड़ा रिव्यू करके दे दो, ठीक है। तो उससे भी पता चलता है कि व्हाट एग्जैक्टली आर द प्रॉब्लम्स इन द रिव्यू आर्टिकल। This is the last slide. Peer review process. This is the process followed by most of scholarly journals, because I started with the sentence scholarly or reputed journals, ठीक है। तो आपका ऑथर सबमिशन हमने यहाँ पर सबमिट किया, आर्टिकल असाइंड बाय द एडिटर। पहले जब भी हम लोग सबमिट करते हैं ऑनलाइन सिस्टम से, तो इट गेट सबमिटेड एंड इमीडिएटली आपको रेफरेंसेस का वो आता है, ठीक है। वो ज्यादा मैटर नहीं करता है। विद इन 2-3 days इफ योर पेपर इज रिटर्न बैक, तो दे गिव द रीजन। देखो, रिजेक्ट करना इज डिफरेंट थिंग एंड रिटर्न बैक टू द ऑथर इज डिफरेंट थिंग, ठीक है। 2-3 दिन में अगर वो रिटर्न बैक आता है तो क्या प्रॉब्लम्स रहते हैं मेनली, if they have given the template you have not followed the template, if they have not given the template in instructions they have given कि पहले ये लिखो, ये बाद में लिखो, इंट्रोडक्शन लिखो। मैंने एक पेपर में बैकग्राउंड लिखा था, तो पेपर वापस आया, उन्होंने बोला हमने हमारे ऑथर गाइडलाइन में इंट्रोडक्शन लिखा है, आप बैकग्राउंड मत लिखो, रिमूव दैट बैकग्राउंड एंड राइट इंट्रोडक्शन, ठीक है ना। तो इस तरह से होता है कि रेफरेंसेस के पहले हमें नोमेनक्लेचर चाहिए कंपल्सरीली, फिर आपका ऑथेंट क्या बोलते हैं उसको, और भी जो चीजें रहती है, दे गिव इन सीक्वेंस व्हाट एग्जैक्टली शैल बी देयर। तो अगर वो फॉलो नहीं किया है तो रिटर्न बैक टू ऑथर आता है, वो फिर से करो एंड अगेन सेंड इट टू द एडिटर। नाउ एडिटर का रोल यहाँ पर बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट रहता है। एडिटर क्या करता है, मीन्स एडिटर का अपना टीम रहता है। फर्स्ट थिंग दे डू मीन्स एडिटर को पेपर देखने के पहले, सबसे पहले आपका पेपर जब जाता है तो रेफरेंसेस सेपरेट हो जाते हैं एंड दैट इज पास थ्रू द प्लेगरिज्म सॉफ्टवेयर। प्लेगरिज्म सॉफ्टवेयर से वो पेपर पहले पास होता है। एंड इफ यूर प्लेगरिज्म पेपर का, मैं तो सजेस्ट करूंगा 10% से ज्यादा नहीं होना चाहिए। इन एक्सेप्शनल केस नॉट मोर देन, नेवर शैल बी मोर देन 15%। आप जैसे ऑथेंटिकेट मैंने दिखाया 15% के ऊपर अगर जा रहा है तो पहले ही आप ही सेंड करने के पहले उसको ठीक ठाक करो। ऑनलाइन जो रहते हैं, फ्री में जो रहते हैं सॉफ्टवेयर, उसका यूज मत करो क्योंकि वो आपको पूरा नहीं देता है, ठीक है। जहां पर सब्सक्रिप्शन है जिस किसी भी इंस्टीट्यूट में, यूनिवर्सिटी में, वहां से वो करके वो आप कर दो। कई कई वो पेड भी रहता है, वो करके पहले वो 15% के अंदर लाओ, तो वो 3 दिन में रिजेक्ट नहीं होगा। क्योंकि ये रिजेक्ट हो गया ना, तो आप मान लो कि आपका एक हफ्ता चला गया, क्योंकि रिजेक्ट होने में कुछ जर्नल 3 दिन लेते हैं, कुछ जर्नल महीना भी लेते हैं, ठीक है ना। तो रिजेक्ट नहीं होना चाहिए। इस तरह से पेपर भेजो। एडिटर के पास बाद अगर उसमें कुछ सब्सटेंस है, अगर मान लो आपका प्लेगरिज्म भी नहीं है, बट एडिटर जब वो रीड करता है और उसको लगता है कि दिस इज आउट ऑफ कॉन्टेक्स्ट ऑफ द जर्नल, इसमें कुछ काम नहीं है ढंग का और ये रूटीन का काम है, देन आल्सो द पेपर गेट्स रिजेक्टेड। ये कई बार हमारे केस में हुआ है, ठीक है ना। तो उस केस में उनकी जो कमेंट्स रहते हैं वो रीड करो और कुछ मॉडिफिकेशन भी करो। ऐसा मत सोचो कि उन्होंने दिया ऐसे ही दिया, ऐसे नहीं देते। दे आल्सो वांट द पेपर्स। उनके यहाँ भी बहुत सारा कंपटीशन अभी चल रहा है। देयर आर लैक्स ऑफ जर्नल्स अवेलेबल इन द मार्केट। ओके, तो उसके बाद अगर वो पेपर में उसको लगता है कि कुछ सब्सटेंस है, इट इज सेंड टू द रिव्यूअर्स। तो रिव्यूअर, अभी मेरे पास भी कम से कम 9 10 12 जर्नल का आता है रिव्यू करने के लिए। दे गिव जनरली 3 वीक्स टू 1 मंथ, 3 वीक्स देते हैं और एक ग्रेस वीक का पीरियड देते हैं, मीन 1 महीना तो रिव्यूअर लेते हैं, ठीक है। 5 रिव्यूअर को वो भेजते हैं, 5 में से 5 बहुत बार वो नहीं करते रिस्पॉन्ड, तो कम से कम 3 रिव्यूअर का भी रिव्यू उनके पास आता है, रिस्पॉन्सेस। ओके, तो क्या होता है, वो फिर से एडिटर के पास आता है, रिव्यू असेस्ड बाय, वो एडिटर वो रिव्यू असेस करता है। तो वहां पर कुछ रिव्यूअर्स बोलते हैं डायरेक्ट एक्सेप्ट करो, कुछ बोलते हैं कि माइनर रिवीजन दो, कुछ बोलते हैं मेजर रिवीजन दो। तो इन दैट केस वो एडिटर का कॉल रहता है। एडिटर का देखो कितना इंपॉर्टेंट रोल है। तो फिर से वो रिवीजन रिक्वायर्ड के लिए देता है, फिर वो ऑथर को ईमेल जा मींस करस्पॉन्डिंग ऑथर को ईमेल जाता है, देन अगेन रिवीजंस जो है रिवीजन करके यू विल बी गिवन some 3 weeks period or 15 days period, again you have to send submit it to the editor। सेकेंड टाइम जो जब जाता है तो कई जर्नल्स, रिपीटेड जर्नल जो रहते हैं, वो सेकेंड टाइम मैंने देखा है कई बार वो दोबारा पेपर हमारे पास रिव्यू करने के लिए आता है, ठीक है। एंड देन इफ ऑल द कमेंट्स ऑफ द रिव्यूअर दे आर बीन सेटिस्फाइड, तो वो रिव्यूअर वो वहां पर उनको कमेंट देते हैं कि अभी रिविजन हो गया, दैट कैन बी एक्सेप्टेड। अगेन एडिटर्स कॉल है, एडिटर वो चेक करता है क्या है, एंड देन मोस्ट ऑफ द केसेस में एक्सेप्ट होता है, देन इट गोज फॉर प्रोडक्शन। एक्सेप्टेंस टू प्रोडक्शन में बीच में एक रहता है कि जिसमें आपको वो एडिट करने के लिए एक दिन के लिए 48 आवर्स के लिए, 2 दिन के लिए वो पेपर आता है आपके पास। तो वो पीरियड भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट रहता है। वंस द पेपर इज एक्सेप्टेड, एक्सेप्टेड का आपको ईमेल आने के बाद कंटिन्यूअसली चेक, मींस करस्पॉन्डिंग ऑथर्स आर रिक्वेस्टेड टू चेक देयर ईमेल्स। वो 48 आवर्स के पीरियड में आपको फिर से जैसे वो कैमरा रेडी पेपर आपके सामने होगा और वो आपको केयरफुली देखना होगा वर्ड टू वर्ड कि हर चीज ठीक ठाक है कि नहीं, क्योंकि एक बार वो हो गया ना तो फिर उसमें कुछ चेंजेस पॉसिबल नहीं होता। तो वो एक बार आपने सबमिट कर दिया तो विद इन अगेन 48 आवर्स पेपर स्टार्ट्स कमिंग ऑनलाइन, ऑनलाइन वो पेपर आना शुरू हो जाता है। सो दिस इज द peer review process, and with these words I stop my presentation. Thank you. These are the references.
Is there any question, audience? If any questions, please ask. Please ask.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, can you just once again let us know what are the measures that we need to take before submitting our paper to a journal, like in a brief, as far as the journals are concerned?
Very first thing I told you, first check whether that is indexed in whatever are the requirement of your organization. Okay, कि स्कोपस में 2 पेपर चाहिए या ऐसा है, तो फर्स्ट थिंग कि चेक वेदर दैट जर्नल इज इंडेक्स्ड इन स्कोपस, वेब ऑफ साइंस और यूजीसी के, ठीक है ना। प्रमोशन के केस में अगर आप देखेंगे गवर्नमेंट ऑफ महाराष्ट्र का जो आया था फ्यू मंथ्स बैक एडवर्टाइजमेंट, वहां पर उन्होंने स्कोपस, वेब ऑफ साइंस एंड यूजीसी केयर भी दिया था। प्रमोशन के केस में इट इज ओके, बट एज फार एज द इंक्रीमेंट्स एंड ऑल, उसमें मेनली वो स्कोपस, वेब ऑफ साइंस देखते हैं। तो वो पहले ये 3 जो मैंने वेबसाइट दिखाए उसमें वो जर्नल एग्जिस्ट करता है नहीं करता है, एंड फॉर हाउ मच पीरियड इट इज एग्जिस्टिंग, वो पहले देखना है। उसके बाद जर्नल के मैट्रिक्स जो है, मैंने बताया था, दिखाया था आपको कि वो कितने दिन में पहला डिसीजन आता है, हाउ मच टाइम इट टेक्स फॉर पब्लिकेशन, वो सारा देखो कि आपके पास कितना समय है, कितने टाइम में आपको पब्लिश करना है, वेदर यू आर गिविंग इंपॉर्टेंस टू इम्पैक्ट फैक्टर आल्सो, तो वो भी देखना पड़ेगा। तो ये चीजें देखने के बाद वंस यू एंड योर गाइड डिसाइड्स कि दिस इज द जर्नल आई वांट टू सेंड माय पेपर, देन डाउनलोड द ऑथर गाइडलाइंस। उसके पहले डाउनलोड करने की कोई फायदा नहीं। ऑथर गाइडलाइन में आप वो पूरा देखो कि टेम्पलेट चाहिए या टेम्पलेट है नहीं है, वो केयरफुली देख के उसके अकॉर्डिंग वो कितना फॉन्ट, क्या रेफरेंसिंग का क्या स्टाइल चाहिए, हर चीज उन्होंने दिया है, तो उसके अकॉर्डिंग पेपर बनाओ। तो दीज आर एक्चुअली द मेन थिंग्स नीड टू बी केप्ट इन माइंड। ओके
Sir, one more thing. Now we get a lot of calls from the so many other people that we help in assisting the PhD.
never
Yeah, yeah,
entertain those, because your PhD must be your own PhD.
yeah, yes.
You and your guide,
Okay.
they are sufficient for your PhD.
No, so what they are going to do, sir? Like, for example, if we don't have the proper instrument in the PhD facility to carry out our the like PhD, if you don't have the instrument and all, whether they help in that or what is
No,
that? I
no,
don't
no. They
exactly.
are, they are all fake people. See, there are
Yes.
some agencies, they are giving you directly the reports and papers and all. I think we shall not discuss that point. If you want to ask me regarding the facility, see, if the facility is not available at your place, there are very places available in Maharashtra, in India. There you can request them on paid basis or on the basis of publication. That means, let's say one research center is there and there is the facility available. So you can, your institute can have the MOU with that institute regarding using that facility and पब्लिशिंग द पेपर इन कोलैबोरेशन। जो भी काम कर रहे हैं वो कोलैबोरेशन में ऐसे कर सकते हैं। फैसिलिटीज का कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं आ सकता है अगर आपके पास नहीं भी है। सो नेवर एंटरटेन सच कॉल्स, आई विल सजेस्ट।
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Sir, there are some questions in chat box.
कैन यू एक्चुअली रीड?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Other than Turnitin, do we have any software for plagiarism?
टर्निटिन एंड आई थिंक टिकट आई टोल्ड यू, यूजीसी का कुछ एक था ना, कौन सा वो, उर्कुन। नेवर गो फॉर दैट उर्कुन, उसको कुछ नहीं समझ में आता है, ठीक है ना। तो सबसे बेस्ट है टर्निटिन, और उसी का ये वर्जन है बोलते हैं लोग, ऑथेंटिकेट। ये दो सॉफ्टवेयर जो है ना, दे आर द बेस्ट, एंड उनका जो रिजल्ट रहेगा वो ऑथेंटिकेट रहेगा। उर्कुन पर मत जाओ।
Sir, another question is there. Is it necessary to include statement of industrial relevance in the main document of the manuscript as it is required as per journal guidelines?
Is it necessary to mention industry?
To include a statement of industrial relevance in the main document of the manuscript.
Industrial clearance,
Uh,
I have never seen actually.
okay.
If you are publishing work related to health sciences, so there are some clearances. But as far as the engineering is concerned, okay, these all core engineering branches and all. So industrial clearance का अभी तक तो मैंने देखा नहीं है. And if the industry people are ready for whatever the work is done at their place for publishing, many industries are there कि they never allow the researchers to publish the work because उनके पास क्या है, वो पेटेंटिंग का प्रेशर रहता है। उस केस में एक बार उनका पेटेंट हो जाने के बाद यू कैन पब्लिश, बट पेटेंट होने के पहले वो पब्लिश नहीं होने देते। सो सच काइंड इज देयर, तो आपको थोड़ा रुकना पड़ेगा, अदरवाइज ऐसा कुछ क्लियरेंस मैंने तो कभी अभी तक देखा नहीं।
Sir, it's relevance,
Relevance,
industrial relevance, sir.
Industrial relevance, sir.
let me read the question carefully. Is it necessary to include statement of industrial relevance in the main document? Okay, I thought clearance. Relevance, industrial relevance का document I have never seen any journal has asked for.
I am working on biofuels, sir. Recently, I have submitted a paper.
Okay.
So the editor has mailed me this response, sir. He has given in this fashion on bullets.
Okay, that might be his special request. Otherwise, if in the standard process, I have never seen such kind of means industrial relevance document. So if statement of industrial relevance, you might have mentioned there ki you are working with the industry and all. So in that case, they might have asked this in a statement of industrial relevance.
Thank you, sir.
Otherwise, generally they do not ask.
Thank you, sir.
That means I have never come across such kind of question.
Is there any question from audience?
No issues. If any question or anything is there, you can share my email address or mobile number uh, to them, and we can discuss afterwards also. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for such eye-opening session. Means you have shown right path to us for regarding the journal finding, how to publish journal, where to submit, and importance of citations, H-index, and publication ethics, and what are the challenges came out in the review process. So thank you very much. Your lecture will definitely help us in our research work while writing a research article. So on behalf of PVPIT Gudgaon, I express vote of thanks to Dr. KB Sutar sir who spared his time from his busy schedule with us. So thank you very much, sir, for giving us the time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, वाणी सर.
Vani sir.
काय स्क्रीनशॉट वगैरे घ्यायचा आहे का कॅमेरा ऑन करून वगैरे म्हणजे ते घेतलाय का? ओके सर, थँक्यू.
Thank you so much.
बाय, थँक्यू.